Good morning. Today we are continuing with our Unit 8. We are working on CO48. I can write and solve proportions using equivalent fractions. So we're still working with those proportions, okay? But now we're going to be adding in what we know about equivalent fractions. So proportion is an equation stating that two ratios are equivalent. So we're using those ratios. We're building onto it. So we know what a ratio is. Now we're going to be comparing those two ratios to make sure they're equivalent. So if we have 6/10 and 3/5, they are equivalent. 3:5 as 6:10. So they are equivalent fractions, equivalent ratios. Using equivalent ratios, when one of the numbers in a proportion is unknown, you can find the missing number by solving the proportion. So this is how we find those missing pieces. One way to solve a proportion is to use mental math to find an equivalent ratio. So when we have those proportions, we know they're increasing in the same way, so we can find our missing pieces. So let's say a person burns 210 calories while inline skating for 30 minutes. Find the number of calories the person would burn while inline skating for 60 minutes by solving the proportion. 210 calories every 30 seconds. And then we have C calories for 60 seconds. So we need to look at that. How do you think we could find C? Brielle? Why would I multiply it by 2? Because to go from 30 to 60, I multiplied by 2. What I do to my denominator, I have to do to my numerator. So if I did 30 times 2 is 60, I can do 210 times 2, which would give me 420. So you have to ask yourself, what number can you multiply 30 by to get to the 60? Then multiply the numerator by the same denominator. So we can solve proportions using algebra. So it's going to be doing the same thing. The same method is used to solve division equations, can be used to solve proportions that have the variable in the numerator. So let's look. We have 6/10 is equal to x over 25. What would x be? What do I have to do? Ooh, this is a little bit different. Oh, goodness. How do I solve this? This one was easy. I could say going from 30 to 60, I multiplied by 2. I'm looking at this one, 6/10 equals x over 25. What do I multiply the 10 by to get to 25? Uh-oh, now it's complicated. Who remembers from when we were practicing this? What do I have to do? Anthony?
You make the 25 into do common denominators?
No common denominators. Remember, when we have x over 25, what does that fraction bar mean? That means divide. So if I want to get x by itself, remember I want to do the opposite. Gregory, it's Monday. Remember, you want to do the opposite. So instead of dividing by 25, what do I want to do, Nolan? Multiply by 25. So 25 divided by 25 gives me my 1. What is 6 times 25? So I get 150 divided by 10 equals x. So what does x equal? Will G? No, because we have 150 over 10. So what math do I have to do, Will? Divide. What is 150 divided by 10? Please stop tapping, Anthony. Yeah, so x equals 15. Okay, so we're doing that algebra that we've already learned, and it's helping us find our proportions aren't always going to be easy like this one, where we just multiply by the same number. Sometimes it'll be easy like that, but it's not always going to be easy. Sometimes we have to do that multiplying and dividing to get to our answer. So let's look at our next one. 1/5 equals x over 10. Sorry, x over 20. 1/5 equals x over 20. What can I do to solve that one? Well, so tell me what math you're doing. Right, you did mental math, but walk me through it. What did you do? What did you have to know to go from 5 to 20? Right, what is it? Yeah, so Will's looking at that and he's going to get from 5 to 20, I'm multiplying by 4. So that means I have to multiply my numerator by 4, and we know 1 times 4 is 4. So sometimes it's going to be easy, and we can even do it as mental math, or we can work it out. 5 times what equals 20? I can do 20 divided by 5 times 4 times the 1. You're doing that same math. You're multiplying both sides by 20. So we'd end up with a 20 here. 20 divided by 5 gives me that 4. Let's look at our next one. To go from 8/3 to k over 18, how do I figure out what the k equals, Zoe? Yep, because if I multiply both sides by 18, I could do 18 divided by 3, I know is 6. 6 times 8 gives me 48. So sometimes we're going to do it where we have to do 25 times the 6 divided by 10 because we needed to get to that 150 to divide it by 10. Sometimes we just know 18 divided by 3 was 6, and 6 times 8 gives me the 48. So you can make it a little easier on yourself, or you could do 18 times 8 divided by 3, and you will get 48. Is that making sense? What you working on there, Gabby? So you don't take your notes on the binder sheet? Okay. All right, so let's look at our next section. Oh, I think I'm up as high as I can go. Let's see if I can get rid of this. Nope, I can't. All right, so setting up a proportion. A proportion may be set up in several ways. So let's say yesterday you bought 8 folders for $4. Well, I should be able to scroll down more. There we go. That looks better. All right. So yesterday you bought $8, 8 folders for $4, and today you buy 5 more folders. How much will 5 folders cost? So we can set up our proportion and say it's the cost over the folders. So that would be $4. Should have a dollar sign here. $4 over our 8 folders. And we need to know 5 more folders, how much that would be. So I can look at that and I can say, all right, I need to multiply each side by 5. So 5 divided by 5 gives me that x by itself. 5 times 4 is 20, divided by 8. What is 20 divided by 8, Landon?
2.5.
So x equals $2.50. So 5 more folders will cost me $2.50. I can set this proportion up in a different way and get the same answer. So I could say, well, today it's 5 folders equals I don't know how much money. Over yesterday was 8 folders and it equals $4. So I'm going to do the same math and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to multiply it by 4 because that's my denominator and I want them to cancel out. 4 times 5 is 20 divided by 8. Oh, same fraction I ended up with now. So I still get x equals $2.50. So remember that it doesn't have to be exactly the same way. Like you can flip them. What you have to do is keep costs as the numerator, folders as the denominator, today as the numerator, yesterday as the denominator. You have to be consistent in how you set your proportion up. But either way that we set it up, we got the same answer. Just make sure you're consistent. If your numerator is the money needs to be on top for both of the ratios. If your denominator is the folders, it needs to be folders for both. So be consistent. Writing and solving a proportion. The elevators in the Empire State Building can pass 80 floors in 45 seconds. Follow the steps to find the number of floors that the elevator can pass in 9 seconds. How can I set up a proportion? What would that proportion look like? If it can go 80 floors in 45 seconds, how many floors can it go in 9 seconds? Anthony, how can I set up my proportion?
25 over 80. X over 9.
So let's look at that. Remember what I said, what we need to do is have consistency. So it's 45 seconds over 80 floors. And we need to find how many floors it can go in 9 seconds. Are we consistent with how we did it? Are we? I have seconds on top and seconds on top? Yeah, because I need to be consistent. If my seconds are on top, they need to be on top for both ratios. So instead of having, if I want to keep my x on top to make it easier to work with. So if my x is floors, I'm going to put my 9 seconds on the bottom. So I'm going to want to have the 45 seconds on the bottom and 80 floors on the top. So I have floors and floors, seconds and seconds. Okay, so we want that consistency and we want it to be easy to work with. So we're going to put our x as our numerator. Okay. So what math do I have to do to solve this? Brielle? So I'm going to multiply by 9 so they can cancel out. And I have to multiply the other side by 9. So what is 9 times 80? Landon? 720 divided by 45 seconds equals x floors. So what is 720 floors divided by 45 seconds? Aiden?
16.
So I can go 16 floors in 9 seconds. Did we see how we solved that? So you want to keep it easy for yourself. Make sure that you keep what you're looking for as your numerator. And you want to be consistent. So we had floors as a numerator. I'm going to keep floors as my numerator. Okay. I could set it up. If I have X floors, I could have put the 80 floors, the 9 seconds, and the 45 seconds. Then I would multiply by 80. 80 times 9 divided by 45. I would get the same answer. But you want to be consistent. Floors and floors, seconds, seconds, or floors and floors, seconds, seconds. So as long as you're consistent, so you want to keep what you're looking for, the variable, in your numerator, and then be consistent with where you put your measurements. Any questions on how to set up our problems? Feeling comfortable with it? Show me your thumbs. Okay, there's a couple of wiggles. So when we get to our math, we have half an hour to work on our problems today. So if you get to one that you're not sure of, you're going to come check with me because we have a lot of work time today so we can check on this. Our homework assignment that goes with this objective, page 105 and 106.
We have to do the word problem.
I'm looking at the word problems right now. I would like us to have some experience setting up our proportions from a word problem. So we have a lot of work time. I would like us to do the word problems today. So all of 105 and 106. All right. So for my friends that might be listening at home, we hope you are well and we hope to see you soon.